Hello and welcome to Inside Edition to discuss national, regional and international issues in depth. As the Kingdom of Bahrain ushers in a new era of smart city advancement, much has been initiated, predicted and promised about the integration of information and communications technology into every aspect of the developments. Various smart city, multidisciplinary and multidimensional projects are springing nationally across different sectors in the kingdom, facing different changes and challenges of innovation and creativity. To talk more about that, we are pleased to be joined here at the studio by Bahrain Smart City Society's president, Mr. Abdulrahman Alsindi. Welcome back. Joining me here in the studio is Mr. Alsindi. Thank you very much for being with us today.
My pleasure. I take this opportunity to thank Bahrain TV actually for inviting us and give us a chance to talk about our society for the public. It's something we are quite appreciated actually. Yes. Thank you.
It's also something that Bahrain is very proud of having, and in order to bring the idea closer to the public, we'd like you to please give us a brief idea about the concept and features of smart cities or smart living, and what is the importance behind them in the modern world especially.
Okay, all right. The idea itself, it came initially from late Dr. Muhammad Ahmed Al-Amr, Allah Rahmah, since last 2 years actually. It was his idea with a group of Bahraini citizens and expats whom they initiated their effort to work voluntarily using their skills, their knowledge, their background, their experience, and focus and targeted for the benefit of the country.
Yeah.
Now, having this done and having, in fact, a lot of communication with a similar organization which is already available in a lot of other countries of the world, particularly I can talk about the advanced one, Singapore, Malaysia, and our neighboring country also, Dubai, and in a very advanced stage in the Scandinavian countries.
Yeah.
Now, in this country, we have all the element. You have, to be honest with you, wonderful people. They can accept and willing to have any changes. People are reacting with the changes, yes, and give you the feedback.
Right.
This one of the significant of the people in this country, which make them are the most welcome, and they are internationally known with their smile wherever you go in the world. That's
yes,
what I'm here. Yeah, with this situation, we felt that in communication with the relevant authorities and the stakeholders, we'll be able to build up and make a lot of a smart communication, starting to build up a smart infrastructure to make a lot of things easier, yeah, and ahead even, I would say, we can start from what the others are end up with.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Well, when you really talk about the development of smart cities, as you said, there are countries that have already initiated it and that have a lot of background in applying them. And yeah, that's why when it comes to Bahrain, the standards were already set a long time ago by different countries, and Bahrain has met these standards.
Correct.
How do you compare Bahrain's standardization to countries where it has already been applied before?
Well, I think we have we got know-how, yeah, in the country. One of our missions actually to aggregate the know-hows, yeah, to try to use what others has been reached to in terms of development, in terms of changes, in terms of their educations, yeah, in terms of their willingness, okay, because we have quite attractive environment in this country to apply latest technology. Now, having we thought about significant benefit for the inhibitors it would come, that and the visitors also, by applying a lot of the smart applications. We have smart city are having three pillars, actually, I would say. It starts with the people-centric, administrative-centric, and infrastructure-centric.
Right.
Now, people-centric, these people are deserve right communications, they deserve healthier transportation, they deserve advanced education, they deserve a lot of things, and they are willing to modify themselves and cooperate with you and add up their capabilities to reach with the utmost. Right. Now, the other pillar is the administrative centric, I would say, that you need to have the administrations and the facilities and the communications between the authorities. So the people can integrate it. And for instance, let me just give you one small example. If somebody got a requirement with a certain ministry, let's say electricity, and it's connected with a job to do with municipality, okay, and connected with something to do with justice, you know, so he would be able to go online. All these portals have to be integrated together. Right. Okay, so he can have all his work being done smoothly. So he deserves to have a right administration to meet his demand. Now we're talking about the third one, which is very important, the infrastructure centric, which is the environments and the procedures and the buildings and everything, the roads. I mean, I can't understand, sometimes we make a road now, we finish it up, after 6 months, we forgot to put a cable behind, we dig it again. Right. Oh, we remember that we have to make an open the other side. We go and do it. Right. Now it has to be futuristic view for transportations, for road, for electricity, for all these domains. Right. All these domains. So it could help the citizen, because that's our target. Right. Our target is to make the people have, I would say, a smart city living. Smart city living healthier, easier, and economical. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, even when you mention the mere aspect of having the smart city and having, for instance, as you said, having these different ministries all available on one application, not only does it save the time of the client, it saves also the pollution of the car where you drive around. It saves a health, standing long time in queues in the heat. It also saves the time of the employees of these institutions that have other things to do, and hence will shorten the time of, I mean, there are so many positive things that come out of it, and that's why the establishment of the Bahrain Smart City Society came as an initiative to meet the mutual aspirations of its members through in-gathering their skills and knowledge for the benefit of the community. What can you tell us more about that, and as well as the society's vision, structure, and its main activities? Well, our structures actually is being built up and being fed with experience, which is the experience through our communications of the similar societies worldwide. For instance, we have an advanced experience in Dubai. They already started by smart city applications. We can see it even when you visit there. When you go to the banking, you can see virtual communications, for instance. Singapore, they are quite ahead in this issue, actually. Even to the main requirement, or the main thing which the citizen is looking at it, is the health service. They are quite ahead of that. Yani you cannot see somebody log in for a certain service and tell him come after 2 weeks or 3 weeks. You know, I mean, that's in general in a lot of other countries, but alhamdulillah, in our country, we are ahead in that. And the experience of the other European and Scandinavian countries in applying the smart city phenomena. Now, and also, actually, a smart city has a connection, I would say, with education itself. I mean, people, they have to look when they study. It's not only the material, they have to study about their country itself, how to turn it smart.
Right.
It makes their life easier. It makes them a lot of opportunities. It makes them communicated with others or in very advanced way.
Yeah.
Now, back to your questions, actually, one of the most important thing which we are trying to approach at the moment, the authorities, which we already had a very successful meeting with the Minister of Housing, His Excellency Mr. Basim Hamar,
Yeah.
who was happy to when he understand about our society, and we are planning with a lot of program, inshallah, ahead. We had good communication with Bahrain Airport Company, which is new, which will be open next year,
Yeah.
with the CEO, Mr. Ben Falah, who was very cooperative actually and encouraged us to make a lot of communications with the stakeholders whom they are related with the airport,
Yeah.
which is health, securities, airlines, all of them, to put the emphasis, the necessity of the smart applications. It all end up with the benefit for the citizen himself.
Right.
Yeah. Also, we think we had also communication with others, what we call them a stakeholder, the other societies and the ministries. It all could fall in the same basket, actually,
Yeah.
which is helping the people and making their life easier,
Right.
and reach to a smart Bahrain to be among the smart nations.
Yes. Yes.
Which we have no reason not to reach that.
Yes.
We have all the facilities,
very
all the
plausible.
factors are there. People, innovators, know-how, government will listen
Yes.
and discuss with you and receive to you.
Right.
The first day when we approach Minister of Labor for the license, I have to pass here a word of thanks actually for His Excellency Mr. Jamil Medan, who was very cooperative with us and gave us the license in 24 hours,
Yeah. Yeah.
which we thank him actually for that.
Yes, because it basically not only opens doors for the future, but also it also points or sheds a light on the importance of educating the society in these type of cities, because it is the future and it is not something that's a choice. It is inevitable, because wherever you travel around the world, there is some kind of application of smart cities. Well, the Bahrain Smart City Society, in performing its duties, deals with several official and private institutions on both local and international levels. You mentioned some of the local ones, but how do you value these corporations, and how does it contribute positively to achieving your aspired goals as a society?
Well, actually, it is very positively, in fact, very positively, especially with the authorities, the government. They encourage us a lot, and other societies also, and University of Bahrain, for instance, they give us a chance to participate in their webinar last week. University of Bahrain also, they give us a chance to give a lecture to some undergraduate of their students. So they open us a channel for communications. And we've been, in fact, because usually when you start a new society with a strange name, smart city, what is smart city? You know, but here in Bahrain, no, we find that we find a very positive reaction with the people.
Yes.
They're very cooperative, and we are going to aggregate a lot of know-hows. Knowledgeable people whom they got the interest, which is one of the main thing is you like the country, you give whatever you can for this country.
Absolutely.
This is your country, this
Yes.
is your people. So we have to devote our time, our effort, whatever we can do for this country is not enough. There is no reason that we will not reach to the smart living situations.
Right.
It's not a magic. Technology, we have it. Know-how, so we have it. People who are willing to cooperate with you are there.
Yes, the future is here.
The future is here.
Yeah.
I mean, any changes is acceptable, particularly in this situation. I mean, go back to the experience of the benefit pay, for instance.
Yeah.
During pandemic,
Yes.
you know, it turned to be in every single house.
Yes, it did. It did. I mean,
And everybody using it.
yes.
This is a smart application.
Yeah. Even the update of the services.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, before we continue on this topic, we will move to the founder and CEO of the Dynamica International, board member and programs director at Bahrain Smart City Society and strategic advisor to Cities Forum Sustainable Urban Development in the UK, Dr. Bijan Pio Majidi, who is joining us via Skype. Welcome, Doctor. Doctor, last month, the University of Bahrain organized the third Smart City Symposium, in which you have taken part as a keynote speaker. What can you tell us about the participation?
Yes, I'm very grateful to the University of Bahrain for the opportunity. Basically, I talked about Bahrain's readiness, and I picked one of the many domains of smart cities. In this particular case, the mobility domain, mobility and transportation, basically how citizens move from one point to the other using any form of mobility. So my presentation was around Bahrain's opportunity to become a best practice nation due to its intrinsic characteristic as a country that can become really a pioneer in creating the right policies, infrastructure, and organization, because it's not about products. It's not about putting just locomotives on the ground without having the stations and the railroad and the organization. So electric vehicles are coming, and we like it or not, is a irreversible decision. It's happening, and it will need dedicated infrastructure policies and governance, and it's a multi-stakeholder operation. It's not only the government, but it's the government, the industry, and the final impact is for the country in terms of environment, in terms of pollution, in terms of energy saving, and for the citizen for his smart living.
Right.
So we are living in a world that is really polluted, traffic, accidents. And Bahrain has the opportunity to, from one side, fix a number of existing problems and prepare itself for the near future. So I picked in particular the smart mobility, one, because I'm an expert in transportation and mobility the last 30 years. That's what I've done around the world. And second, because I really see the opportunity for Bahrain to jumpstart and become, not just for the hype of saying I'm the best, but for really delivering real results for all the stakeholders.
Absolutely. Well, as an expert, Doctor, you actually mentioned that due to its location, openness to innovation, and some other factors, the Kingdom of Bahrain has the opportunity to become a real best practice nation of the E-case. Can you tell us more about that?
Yes, E-case is an acronym that I put together. E stands for e-business. You know, the automotive and mobility industry and situation in the world is going through a twofold revolution, I would say. From one side, the industry itself is changing the way it's working and is actually digitally transforming itself.
Yeah.
The other side, the new technologies have created the opportunities, and there's a lot of hype in the last, I would say, 10 years. And C stands for connected vehicles. A stands for autonomous vehicles, S stands for shared vehicles, and E stands for electric vehicles. Mm-hmm. Now, imagine we have everything connected. I think even our refrigerators are connected in terms of IoT to internet. But our cars, believe it or not, are still not connected.
Right.
We still need to make a phone call or receive a phone call from our service center to say your car needs service. Mm-hmm. So This is something that the industry finally has put its act together. They have defined two standards internationally, and these are going to be embedded into all the vehicles, but needs critical mass. So this is just the beginning of a process. Once cars are connected, but not human to human, machine to machine, these machines will react to each other, will avoid accidents, will talk to, and we call it V2X, vehicle to everything.
Yeah.
It will talk, the unit will talk to the traffic light. The traffic light will be intelligent by itself and will see if there are no cars on one side, will turn green instead of just mechanically waiting 30 seconds on one side or the other. So things are happening. I focused on the last part, on the electric part. Why? Because Bahrain is one of the highest per capita consumers of electricity in the world. We are at the level of Norway, but Norway, 95% or more of their energy is renewable, is hydroelectric. Our energy comes from burning gas.
Right.
So the electric vehicles and traffic on the road, Bahrain has almost 1 million vehicles on the road. And contributes by 25% to the CO2 and particle emissions. So that's one of the problems, that by bringing and preparing the country, and and charging an electric car is not like filling the gas of a car, going to a pump station of Babco and put Babco and put in 3 minutes and fill the tank. Electric vehicles need minimum 30 minutes with fast chargers to charge themselves.
Right.
Now, so basically the paradigm of charging is different. You charge your car exactly the same way we charge our mobile phones, anywhere we can, at office, when we go shopping, when we are at work, when we are sleeping at home. So it's not the paradigm of having electric charging stations where there is a gas station. No, actually, we have to intelligently disseminate this electric, and has to be managed, and the electric grid has to be connected. So these are all things that I don't want to get into technicalities, but Bahrain has an opportunity because it has 1 million vehicles on the road, and it's happening. The world is changing gradually. US, North America, North Europe, and China are the leaders today, with over 8 million vehicles already on the road, out of 1 billion vehicles on the road. And when I say vehicles, I mean commercial vehicles, buses, trucks, and passenger cars.
Yeah.
So this is the situation. So the specific, you asked me what are the other specific characteristics of Bahrain? Bahrain is already, in terms of vision, authority, and organization, ahead of many other countries, even European countries. We have, for example, I'll just give you an example because we're talking about electricity.
Yes.
The SEA, the Sustainable Renewable Energy Authority in Bahrain, has already, since a couple of more years, 2 national programs, one for energy efficiency and one for renewable energy deployment, and has put very clear targets and indicators. Plus has created already some policies that are producing results like net metering. So actually you can generate electricity, renewable electricity, by using solar panels at home or in the office. These are all infrastructural requirements, because you don't create the infrastructure without hitting the telecommunication infrastructure. 5G will be required, because I just talked about vehicle connectivity, but these vehicles to connect each other need low latency, high speed infrastructure, and that's represented by 5G. So the stakeholders are government, industry, and then the vehicle manufacturers. But believe it or not, the vehicle manufacturers have a small drive in making this happen in terms of speed of implementation.
That is.
So this is a little bit the situation, and I think Bahrain has, again, the opportunity to take the lead. Obviously, these things happen top-down. Now, it has money involved, because, if you go and do a benchmark of who is ahead today, like Norway, they started, believe it or not, 20 years ago by creating policies and incentivizing people to use electric vehicles. And technology 20 years ago was far, far behind. Today, we're very lucky to be in a situation that the technology is there. The range of an electric car is You don't have that panic anymore that what if my battery dies, especially Bahrain is small and we're not going anywhere. It's an island. Second, basically, these countries have, from one hand, given to the citizen benefits and perks, but from the other hand, also they've taken away and have put some limits. Some countries now have already introduced very restrict guidelines and targets. So by 2035, that combustion engine vehicles cannot circulate in certain cities. Well, that's huge. Means a lot of urban planning. It's a lot of reorganizing the whole way of modus operandi. So it's just not having the electric vehicle maturing, but the government has to take the lead. Bahrain has the vision, has the authority, has the organization, needs to create dedicated organizations that do not exist today. And projects should solve real problems. It's not about hype, it's not about being the best, the fastest, but it should really solve real problems. And problems, when you solve them right, it helps the government, the administrator, the municipality, the ministries, the cities, the towns. It helps the business and creates business opportunities for people and for industries. Bahrain has a lot of small, medium enterprises, so they can benefit. And then obviously, these projects have to be not only seen with authority, but also have seen as a business. It has to be a return on investment and a break-even point. So this is really very important that is approached with a business head, and that's why we have this PPP, public-private partnership mechanism that has to be used, in particular here, where the money should come from the government, but also from the industry. And there should be benefit. It's an investment. It's not throwing away the money. And then the benefits in terms of environmental benefits, reduction of CO2, carbon footprint, and particles, that also has to have specific targets, but it's a byproduct. And the byproduct, it means that, again, we will start breathing better air. We will be traveling in a less polluted in terms of noise also. And we'll have a smarter life. So this is, and I'm just talking about one domain of smart cities, which is mobility.
Right. Absolutely. I was going to ask you about that, but you answered yourself. Thank you so much for your time and for joining us, Dr. Bijan Majidi, for being with us. We are back here in the studio. The concepts, Mr. Abdulrahman, that Dr. Majidi talked about are things that have been applied and that have been are not something that come out of illusions or out of mental capacities, but basically these are actual applied templates in Europe and in different countries, as you mentioned, Singapore. So seeing its success in Bahrain is not something far-fetched. This is a very confirmed aspect. What can you tell us about what he said and how that pertains to our island?
Correct. Actually, what Dr. Bijani mentioned is it's quite interesting part, in fact, to highlight about the availability of such a development in other countries, whom they already applying this the smart initiative and the smart applications or transportations, and we can't see any problem. So such studies could be made here in Bahrain. The know-how is available and the idea is available, and we can start where the others has been ended up with.
Right.
And we have the infrastructure, perhaps it can be rearranged or remodified or re-engineered. A lot of administrative and some infrastructure issue also to get this one done.
Yes.
So as I mentioned at the beginning, the pillar of the smart city is connected with the people whom they're already there, and administrative centric and the infrastructure centric. So, and all of it are integrated together actually, because all the domains which he mentioned about them, Dr. Bijan now, We have a lot of domains of smart and various applications. These are integrated together for the benefit of the people to make their life healthier, easier, economical.
Absolutely, and I think I do want to focus on a very precise point that you yourself mentioned and Dr. Majidi, that these are building blocks. Having futuristic cities, the concept has to be looked at like building blocks. If something doesn't fit, something else will come in its place until we have the complete picture. Also, at the same time that if a certain line of these building blocks fits for this country and for the infrastructure of this country, then that is what's going to grow. So people will see certain things being changed and everything, but it's not a sign of failure, it's because of progression and advancement.
Correct.
Well, artificial intelligence plays a pivotal role in smart cities and brings a multidisciplinary and integrated approach of how the digital and physical worlds are converged together. So how does a new combination of human and machine intelligence transform the experience of the urban environment? What can you tell us about that, especially that Dr. Majid did hit on that topic a little bit?
Exactly. Yeah. Artificial intelligence society is being headed by the pioneer Dr. Jassim Haji, who are putting a lot of effort in education actually and making awareness about the AI. You can see he put a lot of articles about these issues, and we had a lot of communication and discussion with him. And we know, and everybody knows, AI as it is, you can call it the utmost applications or implementation of the information technologies in life.
Yes.
And artificial intelligence is getting to be applied and practiced in so many areas, particularly the pandemic situations actually. I mean, in China, it played a big role to reduce the pandemic in certain areas. You can see robotic are delivering the medicine, robotic are delivering the food and everything, and get the people know that there is all their services has been met.
Yes.
Now, the technology of artificial intelligence, it has a lot of there's a lot of link with the smart cities applications.
Yes.
Okay, and that's why we are communicated with Dr. Jassim. We had MOU done last month between our society and AI in order to start. We plan to start a lot of seminars, and we started already one actually through Microsoft Meet last month, and contributed by one of our members in the municipal affairs, Mr. Saleh Tarhade, who is head of the council affairs there. And he explains a lot of areas that municipalities are looking at it, even in the future, to monitor or their intention to apply the smart city activities there. So there is communication, and we are now in awareness stage with him to make seminars, lectures, conference shortly, and put the link together, because we are integrated.
Yes, and this will be absolutely, and this is necessary, because this will be something that everybody has to get used to. It's not something that's a choice later on.
No, it's not a choice. It's not a choice.
We're definitely going that way. Well, if anything has taught us about choices, it's this pandemic. The COVID-19 pandemic has definitely had an impact on smart city development and policies of applying digital technologies in urban development. And we've talked about this behind stage, that the impact was so fast forwarded that we were really tested as a kingdom. We were tested as human beings on the verge of intelligence and the technology that we have. So what is your vision regarding smart cities' future after COVID-19?
Exactly. Well, it stimulates a lot of ideas, actually. It stimulates a lot of plans. But we are planning to have a few seminars, or we're having a few discussions with our stakeholders,
Yeah.
with our partners, to, because we don't want to start something or to talk about something our own unless the others and the stakeholder are taking ownership in it, because we both are looking for the benefit of, we have something in common, the people.
Yeah.
Since we have something common, there will be a lot of the ideas and the discussion and the line of the communication. It got to be open and discussed to offer whatever we can, because with the pandemic, it's stimulative ideas. After pandemic, a lot of things could come. So it is a very good experience for us to communicate with the stakeholders and discuss with them the actual and propose a plan to align with smart cities activities in terms of communicating with all really relevant authorities, stakeholders, all of them together.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this differently. What is it that you would like to see in the field of smart cities after the pandemic? Something that you would have fulfilled?
I'd like to see that it will be more actually in terms of the administrative, the infrastructure for the benefit of the people. That it will be all the domains integrated together. I want to see that when you press a button to access a certain service with the ministry, you don't have to get out and go to the others and they will tell you, oh, come and give us a copy of your CPR.
Yeah.
You don't have to leave. You should be able to access all your services at home, because the facility is there. So it needs an administrators to get it done and organized in a smart way for the benefit of whom?
Right.
Benefit of the peoples.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And we are
And
almost there.
also, one more point I'd like to add to it, and to see, in fact, the smart city scheme in educations.
Yes.
The kids have to know that the country is smart. The country will be smart. The smart, not even in the machines and in the systems or the
even the investments.
Communications. Yeah. It is suluk, what we say it in Arabic.
Yeah, I think
kid, they have to have a new behaviors.
Right, absolutely.
And
I mean, appreciate that. Exactly. That's what I want to say. I mean, appreciate these developments that the country has done. I mean, before the pandemic was not something anybody thought would happen, but the fact that investment companies such as Amazon are in the country, that companies that make antiseptic materials and stuff like that are in the country, are being manufactured, was a huge plus for Bahrain and really helped out at these dire times. And that's part of smart cities.
Exactly. May I add one thing else actually about the health service during the pandemic.
Right.
It reached a situation was nobody expecting it actually. We have to pass a word of thanks for the Ministry of Health for their services.
Yes, Team Bahrain and the COVID task force. Yes.
I mean, so the people are appreciating that and what they can do to return.
Perfect. Well, before we continue on with this, joining us through Skype is Board Secretary of Bahrain Smart City Society, Mr. Nawaf Abdulrahman. Welcome to the show.
Hi, welcome, and thank you for having me, in fact, in the show.
Thank you. Sir, first up, how does the society contribute to achieving the National 2030 Sustainable Development Goals?
See, the idea of a smart city is infusing technology in every aspect of city's operation. In fact, it uses every buzzword in technology that we have today. It's either from big data, IoT, whatever buzzword that we are hearing today. In fact, it comes as part of let's say, the smart city initiative. This is why we always consider the smart city is the umbrella of all the technology initiatives that we have, whether we are talking about infrastructure and telecommunications maturity, data science, analytics, artificial intelligence. And therefore, in fact, smart cities solving urban problems using technology.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we have seen this clearly during the pandemic today, not only in helping and using technology to help finding for vaccines, but also in transforming healthcare and transforming all the other sectors, and also to survive the pandemic. Now, Bahrain Smart City Society plays a vital role in building the smart city and nation. We work on a national level where we help in setting the national objectives, defining KPIs to measure the success, of course, and creating the framework to engage all the stakeholders. We work also on a level where we work closely with all the bodies, whether public or private bodies, to translate this framework into an actionable objectives.
Right.
Now, finally, we work closely with the community. We engage the community, and we're bringing them on board to engage them. And therefore, as I mentioned, it's having, let's say, smart city is vital to achieve the sustainable development goals, and globally, and especially if we're talking about in Bahrain, especially that our, of course, our vision 2030 is connected and linked to the SDGs.
Right, right. Well, I want to stay at that point of bringing the community into this. From your point of view, what way is public awareness about how important is it in smart cities, and how can it be assessed, and what are the best methods to spread this knowledge among the people, among the public?
Well, as I mentioned, bringing the community on board is essential to build smart cities. Without it, to be frank with you, we're gonna always risk having a successful smart city initiative.
Yeah.
In fact, we consider the community engagement is the tool to help delivering smart city innovation. Yeah. And therefore, always we look into the level of engagement of the community, and the more engagement that we have, will reflect the level of awareness of the importance of the smart cities. Now, by having NGOs like Bahrain Smart City Society focusing in this domain will enable the community, in fact, to actively participate in building the smart city. Now, in fact, spreading knowledge and awareness about smart city could be achieved in various ways. Now, like what my brother Abdulrahman, the chairman of the society, mentioned, embedding, of course, the education of the smart city as part of the education system is very important. Especially, we are talking about a very wide topic here, and we are touching point all the areas and all the domains of the community. So having it as part of the education is very critical. Now, societies like us can deliver, of course, special awareness sessions like workshops, conferences, seminars, special courses, and at the same time, having the community part of it is part of the awareness itself. So if I'm bringing all the members of the community on board and having them part of those initiatives, Of course, this will help spreading the awareness across the community itself. Now we have seen, for example, the IGA. They have created a very interesting initiative, which is the Excellence Award.
Yes.
And this, in fact, helped all the stakeholders to play an active role in the success of transforming, let's say, the public services into digital. Now, such initiatives, of course, will help always spreading the knowledge and spreading the awareness across the community.
Absolutely. Sir, thank you very much for being with us. Mr. Nawaf Abdulrahman, the Board Secretary of Bahrain Smart City Society. We'll see you in a bit. We are back here in the studio. Thank you very much, Mr. Nawaf, for that information. And the focus when it comes to spreading awareness, we know is vast. And we have the technology. We have so many outlets such as social media. And I know that the society has used these outlets in order to spread awareness. So how do you value the use of such tools that are at our hands to spread knowledge among the people on this topic?
We are at the stage and to do a campaign of awareness, actually, of the requirement and of the smart city tools or the smart city procedure in a way that it is essential to reach to smart city living, to reach to having all the services that the citizen can receive in easier way, as I said, healthier way and economical way. So all these things through smart applications.
Right.
And these tools are very cooperative, very productive actually. And we can see a lot of organization, as I said, the stakeholders at the beginning are cooperative with us also in understanding and exchanging ideas for our common goals.
Right, and they're essential. Well, in any successful story we've mentioned, there will be obstacles. So from your point of view, what are the obstacles that might face countries throughout their way towards establishing smart cities, and what are the most suitable ways to actually overcome these obstacles?
Well, obstacles and something which is connected, especially with the advanced technology, which it forces itself, the changes now, the technology and the changes now, and applying the technology for the citizen services or the customer services, it usually forces itself. And so obstacles, I can see it is to become very weak down the line. Although it will be a bit of delay, bit of with our society, we've been thinking that how we can start could be finance is one of the obstacles.
Okay.
When we call some of our partners and we talk to them is to be platinum partner, they immediately support us with the finance.
Yes.
So obstacles here are getting to be weakened down the line, I guess.
Yeah.
When you advance with your work in an honest way.
Yeah, but people have to keep in mind that it is a building process.
It is.
So
building process.
we have the infrastructure, we have the base, and now building on it is it isn't difficult, but it will take time. But it will probably go faster than anybody expects. Now,
I'm perhaps very optimistic in that.
Me too.
You know, but I have to.
Bahrain has already actually achieved a lot when it comes to smart cities.
Yes.
Bahrain Smart City Annual Conference and Workshop will be held by the beginning of next year. What are the main topics that will be discussed, and what are the expected outcomes?
Well, the main topic is to discuss the new ideas, new plans, and what our visions with stakeholders as to be a part of us, and discussing the experience and where the other country has been reached to, their experience, and try also to discuss is there any delay or any obstacles could face us in the future and that. So we'll try to make the thing are more closer, and it is something we have to all think about it, all the domains, because we are not talking about a certain area or a certain authorities. We're talking about the total authorities to reach to a smart city living, a smart city country. The citizen, he live in smarter cities. So it is total integrations.
Yes, yes.
You know, so we are talking about this area, so all the stakeholders will be participated and discussing and feel free. Might be it will be 2 days or 3 days sessions actually to discuss all the issues related.
Yeah, especially it's a very exciting conference in my opinion, because it will be perhaps at the beginning of the end of the pandemic, hopefully. And by then a lot of things will have been put into movement when it comes to smart cities development. Correct. Not just in our region but also in the whole world. Correct. And then comparing notes, as so to say, or comparing experiences will be is always a big part of conferences like this. And gaining that knowledge will improve any society. Especially one such as our islands, who is always thriving on this knowledge.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
The society also has the objective of welcoming specialists, professors, enthusiasts, and even students to become members and share their skills and knowledge to develop smart city initiatives. What are the criteria that you put for the memberships?
Interest. If they are interested in smart city ideas, and it is one way they can add up something to it. Okay, their intention is enough. We're not putting any restrictions at all. We're looking for the people with obviously know-how, experience, interest. We aggregate all this effort to work together. Because a smart city is a responsibility of everybody actually. Responsibility, it is a social responsibility, I would say. Since we have a common goal, which is the people. Okay, so mutual understanding in how we serve or deliver the best service for these people in a smart way.
So like a service within all ministries that interlock with each other and work together rather than an entity by itself. Okay. Sir, is there anything else that you'd like to add at the end of this show? Well,
I again thank you for this opportunity to deliver the idea of the smart city for the public, and it's something we quite appreciated actually. Thank you.
Thank you very much for being with us, and of course we could talk a lot about this. It will never end, but hopefully we will be able to talk more in other episodes and more specific topics. Thank you very much for watching us, and see you next week in another episode of Inside Edition.